Alrighty. What's up, everyone? Welcome to another live edition of Pro Wrestling Talk, brought to you by Blitzball Champ Gaming. I'm your host, Blitzball Champ Jason Ingram, coming at you here live from the U to the 2. So, buckle up because we have a lot to talk about tonight. A whole lot to talk about tonight. There's a lot going on in Stardom. There's a lot going on in New Japan Pro Wrestling. A lot going on in AEW. A lot going on in WWE. Whew. A lot going on in the pro wrestling world. Let's just get that out of the way. But hoping to have some fun with y'all tonight. But let's go ahead and kick things off. Let's get started with Stardom. So, we got two big events. Of course, one starting this weekend. That's right. We have the Goddess of Stardom Tag League tournament that's getting ready to start Sunday. Well, technically now as we speak, because of course the time difference between here and Japan. But let's go through and let's take a look at the teams that will be competing in the Goddess of Stardom Tag League. So in the red block, the Red Goddesses block, we have these 6 teams. We have Aphrodite, which is Queen's Quest, Utami Hayashishita, and Saya Kamitani, both former Goddess of Stardom Tag Team Champions. We have Natsupoi and Himeka, who are 2/3 of the current Artists of Stardom Trios champions. Of course, it's those two and Maika, Mai Hime Poi. We have Koguma and Hazuki as a tag team. Of course, they faced each other at the recent, I believe, Osaka Dream Cinderella pay-per-view. So they've agreed to team up for this tournament. We have Cosmic Angels, Mai Sakurai, and Unagi Sayaka as a team. We have Oedo Tai's Fukiken Def and Saki Kashima as a tag team. And we have the sisters, one being from Stars, another from Oedo Tai, Hanan and Rina. So these are the 6 teams in the Red Goddesses block. Now, I can tell you right now, looking at these teams, you got a couple of strong ones in here. Of course, Aphrodite, very strong team. I think Koguma and Hazuki can definitely be a tough team. Himeka and Natsupoi, definitely a tough team. It'll be interesting to see how Rina and Hanan do. I mean, they're in different units, but they are sisters. So we'll have to see how their chemistry goes. I think they'll have good chemistry. I think the whole unit faction will probably be put aside for this tournament. But I mean, hey, they're sisters. So, I mean, you know what I mean? Fukiken Def and Saki Kashima, that could be a surprise. That could be a surprising team. I mean, both of these two ladies, have done pretty well in getting singles victories. So we'll have to see how they do as a tag team. But it's kind of an interesting tag team. And then Mai Sakurai and Unagi Sayaka, I don't know. I was trying to decide between those two and Rina and Hanan as probably the 2 weakest teams in the Red Goddesses block. But I mean, we'll see. I think they're potentially maybe the 2 weakest teams, but we'll see what happens. And then the Blue Goddesses block. So the 6 teams in this block, you have Momo Watanabe and Azumi. Of course, this team won last year's Goddess of Stardom Tag League. You have Cosmic Angels, Mina Shirakawa, and Tam Nakano, the current Wonder of Stardom champion. You have Oedo Tai's Starlight Kid and Ruoka. Starlight Kid, the current high-speed champion. Ruoka, the current and newest future of Stardom champion. So these two ladies are teaming up. We have Shuri teaming up with Micah. Micah, 1/3 of the Artists of Stardom Trios champions. Of course, both these ladies are from Donna Del Mundo. And of course, Shuri, current SWA champion, 1/2 of the Goddess of Stardom tag team champs well, then again, they may have vacated those titles because Julio's her partner, but she's been out injured. And it looks like she's going to be out injured for a while. So I think those might have been vacated. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I think those may have been vacated. But we'll see. But those two ladies are a tag team. We have Ren Katakura coming from Marvelous. Ren Katakura and Mayu Iwatani. Mayu Iwatani with her blonde hair and all. But yeah, these two ladies are teaming up. So kind of an interesting combination there, Mayu and Ren Katakura. And then we have Waka Tsukiyama and Lady C as a tag team. So this is the Blue Goddess block. Blue Goddesses block. I can tell you right now, it's definitely obvious that Lady C and Waka Tsukiyama are the weakest team in the Blue Goddesses block. Of course, you got Momo and Azumi. They're definitely a threat. They were last year's winners. Tam and Mina, definitely a threat. Ren Katakura, Mayu Iwatani, definitely a threat. Micah and Shuri, definitely a threat. Starlight Kid and Ruoka, well, they're both champions, so they could be a surprise. They could be a surprise, but definitely Waka and Lady C are the weakest team in the Blue Goddesses block. This will be interesting. It's kind of hard to tell which two teams will come out of these blocks, but should be fun. Should be fun. So definitely looking forward to that. And the card for Kawasaki Super Wars has been announced for Stardom as well, which will be on November 3rd. And I believe this will take place at the Kawasaki City Todoroki Arena in Kawasaki, Japan. So this is part of the Stardom Super Wars, which is a trio of shows that they're going to be doing. So this first show is going to be in Kawasaki. I think the second one is in Osaka, and the third one's in Tokyo. So they already have the card posted for the Kawasaki show. So let's take a look at it. So we got a singles match between Cosmic Angels stablemates Waka Tsukiyama and Mai Sakurai. So this is pretty much a rematch. Mai Sakurai got the victory last time these two ladies faced off against each other. So we'll see if Waka can even it out. We also have Lady C. Lady C is getting her Future of Stardom title shot. So she'll be Ruoka's first challenger. So that should be interesting. See how Lady C does in her first title match. We have a three-way match between Saya Kamitani, Micah, and Mina Shirakawa. So that should be an interesting three-way match. Momo Watanabe will get a shot at the high-speed title as she will take on current champion Starlight Kid. This is interesting. This is very interesting because I don't really look at Momo Watanabe as a high-speed wrestler. She's more of a strong style striker, submission expert, but it'll be interesting. She's getting a title shot for the high speed championship, so didn't see that coming. And then we got a tag team match. We have Donna Del Mundo's Himeka and Natsupoi going up against Stars' Mayu Iwatani and Koguma. So that should be a good tag team match. That could go either way. We have singles match for not only the SWA World Championship, but also the challenge contract for the World of Stardom Championship, as Shuri will defend both of those against Azumi. This ought to be interesting because remember, Azumi has kind of had Shuri's number lately. I mean, she's pinned her in singles competition, especially back in the 5-star Grand Prix. So this ought to be a great match. This really, Azumi's kind of going into this with some momentum, being that she has successfully pinned Shuri. But I don't see Shuri losing. I definitely don't see her losing. But it's good to see the SWA title get defended. So this is really good. She just recently defended it against Saki Kashima and the challenge contract. So now she's going to defend both of these again against Azumi. So this should be really good. The Wonder of Stardom Championship will be on the line as Tam Nakano, the current champion, will defend against her stablemate, Unagi Sayaka. So after Unagi Sayaka lost the Future of Stardom to Ruoka, she decided to take the opportunity after the draw between Mayu and Tam to insert her name into the picture and challenge Tam Nakano for the white belt. So we'll have to see how well Unagi Sayaka does. She's come a long way. She's been a champion. So we'll have to see how she does against the leader of Cosmic Angels. And then the main event, which I assume will be the main event, Utami Hayashishita will defend the red belt, the World of Stardom Championship, against Hazuki. Now, of course, Hazuki just recently had a high-speed match with Koguma and beat her, and now that's her tag team partner for the Goddess of Stardom Tag League. This should be a good matchup. Good matchup for Utami Hayashishita going up against veteran Hazuki and putting the red belt on the line. I like this card, y'all. This looks like a very strong card. This looks like a very strong card. So I'm definitely looking forward to this. Definitely looking forward to this. But yeah, this is only the first show of the Stardom Super Wars. And should be good. Should be really good. Okay, that is it for Stardom. Let's hop on the train and get to the G1 Climax for New Japan Pro Wrestling. So, it is coming down to the wire, y'all. There's only 3 days left. One more set of matches for the A block, one more set of matches for the B block, and then the 21st is the finals. It's funny because that's also the same day as WWE's Crown Jewel. So, got a lot of pro wrestling to look forward to that day. Okay. Let's look at the current standings as we're getting very close to the end of the G1 Climax number 31. Okay. Let's look at the A block. Just a quick review. Of course, Tetsuya Naito has 0 points. Had to withdraw, forfeit the rest of this tournament. He only had the one match, but it was against Zack Sabre Jr., which he lost. So he's lost all of his matches. So at 4 points is both Tangaloa and Yujiro Takahashi. Both are eliminated as well. So Yujiro, he has defeated Kota Ibushi, and he has the bye victory over Tetsuya Naito, but he's lost to the Great Okarn, Tomohiro Ishii, Kenta, Tangaloa, Zack Sabre Jr., and Toru Yano. And then Tangaloa, of course, he has the forfeit victory over Naito. He's also beaten Yujiro Takahashi. Let's see. He has lost to the Great Okarn, Kota Ibushi, Tomohiro Ishii, Kenta, Shingo Takagi, and Toru Yano. And like I said, both of those guys are mathematically eliminated. Torujano and the Great O-Khan, both of them have 8 points. And unfortunately, both of them as well are mathematically eliminated. So let's start with Torujano. Torujano, he's got the forfeit victory over Naito. He's also beaten Kenta, Tangaloa, and Yujiro Takahashi, but he has lost to Kota Ibushi, the Great O-Khan, Zack Sabre Jr., and Shingo Takagi. Let's see. We have the Great O-Khan. Of course, he's got the forfeit victory over Naito. He's also beaten Tangaloa, Yujiro Takahashi, and Toruyano, but he's lost to Kota Ibushi, Tomohiro Ishii, Kenta, and Zack Sabre Jr. and Shingo Takagi. All right, Tomohiro Ishii has 10 points. Let's see. He's got the forfeit victory over Naito. He's also beaten Tangaloa, Zack Sabre Jr., Yujiro Takahashi, and the Great O-Khan. He's lost to Kota Ibushi, Kenta, and Shingo Takagi. He still has a chance. He actually still has a chance, which I'll go over that in a second. And then we have a 4-way tie with 12 points. Kenta, Shingo Takagi, Kota Ibushi, Zack Sabre Jr. Let's start with Kenta. So Kenta has the forfeit victory over Naito. He's also beaten Zack Sabre Jr., Great O-Khan, Tomohiro Ishii, Tangaloa, and Yujiro Takahashi. He's lost to Shingo Takagi and Toru Yano. Shingo Takagi, he's got the forfeit victory over Naito. He's also beaten the Great O-Khan, Tomohiro Ishii, Kenta, Tangaloa, and Toru Yano. He has lost to Kota Ibushi and Zack Sabre Jr. Kota Ibushi, he's got the forfeit victory over Naito. He's also beaten the Great O-Khan, Tomohiro Ishii, Tangaloa, Shingo Takagi, and Toru Yano, but he's lost to Zack Sabre Jr. and Yujiro Takahashi. And Zack Sabre Jr., see, he's beaten the Great O-Khan, Kota Ibushi, Tetsuya Naito, Shingo Takagi, Yujiro Takahashi, and Toru Yano. He has lost to Tomohiro Ishii and Kenta. Okay, so matches left in the A block. We know Yujiro Takahashi, he still has to face Shingo. Let's see, Tangaloa, he still has to face Zack Sabre Jr. Toru Yano, he still has to face Tomohiro Ishii. Let's see. Kenta still has to face Kota Ibushi. Shingo, he's got to face Yujiro. Kota Ibushi still has to face Kenta. Yeah. So for Tomohiro Ishii to have a chance, let's see who's he got to face. He has to face Toru Yano. He's got to beat Toru Yano. And pretty much everybody else, oof. He's going to need certain people. He's going to need certain people to lose, now that I think about it. And then again, I don't know. Maybe Ishii technically can't win it because, let's see, against Shingo, he's lost to Shingo, he's lost to Kota Ibushi, he's lost to Kenta, but he's beaten Zach. Well, yeah, I don't think Ishii has a chance. Because even if he won, like, he would tie with the others, and then, you know, some of those others ahead of him have beaten Ishii. So it I don't think it's possible. I don't think it's possible now that I look over these stats. But so let me see. So in order for Kota Ibushi to have a chance, he pretty much all he has to pretty much do is beat. I guess he has to beat Kenta. I think. But see, I think Zack Sabre Jr. might have the best chance. It's just tough to call because it's a four-way tie. And Kenta, Shingo, Kota Ibushi, and Zack Sabre Jr. all have at least one match left. Who do I think will make it out of the A block? That's tough. I mean, those are four solid candidates. Kenta, Shingo, Kota Ibushi, and Zack Sabre Jr. Those are four solid candidates. Who? I mean, me personally, I would love to see Kenta win the G1 or at least make it to the finals. I would love to see Kenta make it to the finals. Zack Sabre Jr., Kota Ibushi, not so much. Shingo, honestly, I'm gonna be rooting for Kenta to make it out of the A block, to at least make it to the finals. That's who I'm gonna go for. Okay, let's look at the B block. All right, so the B block. So a four-way tie for 4 points, and they're pretty much eliminated, are Taichi, Chase Owens, Yoshihashi, and Hiroki Goto. So Taichi, he has beaten Hiroki Goto, Sanada. Dang, those are the only two matches he's won. Wow. He's lost to Jeff Cobb, Evil, Okada, Chase Owens, and Tama Tonga and Yoshihashi. Dang. Not a good year for Taichi. Let's see. Chase Owens. He's gotten a few surprise victories. Like he's beaten Taichi and he's beaten Hiroshi Tanahashi. That's crazy. But he's lost to Jeff Cobb, Evil, Hiroki Goto, Okada, Sanada, and Tama Tonga. Okay. By the way, Taichi still has to face Hiroshi Tanahashi. Chase Owens still has to face Yoshihashi. Okay. Hiroki Goto. Only matches he's won is against Chase Owens and Yoshihashi. Ugh. It's kind of a bummer. He's lost to Jeff Cobb, Evil, Okada, Sanada, Taichi, and Hiroshi Tanahashi. He still has one match left against Tama Tonga. All right. Standing alone at 6 points is... Oh, I forgot Yoshihashi. I'm sorry. Forgot Yoshihashi. Yoshihashi has beaten Tama Tonga and Taichi. He's lost to Jeff Cobb, Evil, Hiroki Goto, Okada, Sanada, and Hiroshi Tanahashi. He still has to face Chase Owens. That's his final match. Okay. 6 points, Tama Tonga. Tama Tonga he has defeated Taichi, Chase Owens, and Okada, which was a big, big victory for him. That was a great match too, but he did beat Okada. But he's lost to Jeff Cobb, Evil, Sonata, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Yoshihashi. But still, him beating Okada, that's a big deal. I mean, he legit gave Okada his only loss so far. It's crazy. Okay. And Tamatanga, yeah, his final match is against Hiroki Goto. Okay, tied with 8 points is Sonata and Hiroshi Tanahashi. So Sonata, he has defeated Hiroki Goto, Chase Owens, Tamatanga, and Yoshihashi. He's lost to Jeff Cobb, Okada, and Taichi, and Hiroshi Tanahashi. He has one more match against Evil. That should be intense. And then Hiroshi Tanahashi, let's see, he has defeated Hiroki Goto, Sonata, Tamatanga, and Yoshihashi. He's lost to Jeff Cobb, Evil, Okada, and Chase Owens. His final match is against Taichi, but of course they're mathematically eliminated. Evil is sitting in third place with 12 points. So Evil has beaten Hiroki Goto, Chase Owens, Taichi, Hiroshi Tanahashi, Tamatanga, and Yoshihashi. His only losses have been to Jeff Cobb and Okada. He has one match left against Sonata. Okay. Yeah. And Evil, well, yeah, Evil's actually mathematically eliminated. And then we have Kazuchika Okada sitting at 14 points, second place with 14 points. So Okada has defeated Evil, Hiroki Goto, Chase Owens, Sonata, Taichi, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Yoshihashi, and he has the one loss to Tamatanga. And his final match is against Jeff Cobb. And then sitting at the top at 16 points at a perfect 8-0 is Jeff Cobb. He has set the record as the first participant in G1 Climax history to go a straight 8-0. Could he go 9-0? We shall see. But he is undefeated. He has beaten Evil, Hiroki Goto, Chase Owens, Sonata, Taichi, Hiroshi Tanahashi, Tamatanga, and Yoshihashi. And his final match is against Okada. Well, I mean, of course, with this standings here, I mean, Jeff Cobb pretty much has the advantage. He has to either win or tie against Okada, and he advances to the finals. But now if Okada wins, then he goes to the finals. Okada goes to the finals. Honestly, I think you got to pull the trigger and have Jeff Cobb win. I don't think it makes sense for Okada to make it to the finals. I don't think we need Okada in the finals. This is a big deal. I think we got to put Jeff Cobb in the finals. I'm not saying that he'll win it, which, I mean, it would be kind of cool if he did win it. That'd be a big deal if Jeff Cobb won the G1 Climax. That would be huge. That'd be really huge. But I would like to see Jeff Cobb versus Kenta in the finals. And honestly, I would be happy if either of those two won the G1 Climax. But some would probably say Jeff Cobb probably deserves to win it the most. But I would look forward to that. I would definitely look forward to that. But we shall see. We shall definitely see. It's coming down to the wire, but I'm looking forward to the finals and closing out this G1 Climax. But yeah, so that takes care of that. A couple of other events have taken place. Got a chance to see Autumn Attack, New Japan Pro Wrestling's Autumn Attack. It was pretty good. It was actually pretty dang on good. They had 2 nights. The first night was in Texas. Well, actually, both of them were in Texas. But there were 2 Saturdays. The first one was the 9th of October. The second one was the 16th. But I finally got a chance to watch those on NJPW World. But first off, you had Fred Rosser versus Minoru Suzuki. And I tell you, Fred Rosser was talking mad smack to the murder grandpa. But you know what? I got to give him credit. He brought it. He really brought it and really brought the fire to Minoru Suzuki. But, of course, we all knew that Fred Rosser wasn't going to beat Minoru Suzuki. I mean, that's just common sense. But, pretty dang on good match. But yeah, Minoru Suzuki was able to get the Gotch-style pile driver to get the victory. But, definitely a good match. We had the NJPW Strong Openweight Championship on the line as the current champion, Filthy Tom Lawler, defended against Renarita. And I have to say, Renarita definitely has been toughening up and has been really bringing it. Renarita, don't sleep on him. He's really breaking out of that young lion shell, and he's starting to little by little turn into a star. He is. And this was a hard-hitting back-and-forth match, but just Filthy Tom Lawler was just too much for Renarita and was able to submit him and retain the Strong Openweight Championship. So Filthy Tom Lawler still able to look strong as champion, which something tells me he's probably not going to lose that title anytime soon. And then he had a really good high-impact main event as the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion Robbie Eagles took on Jay White, the Never Openweight Champion. And I tell you, it was back and forth. I was loving the action. You know, I just recently saw Robbie Eagles live at a PWX show recently. It was a great show. He went up against Lucky Ali. It was a really great match. But yeah, Robbie Eagles, Jay White. These two definitely went back and forth. I was loving the action here. Of course, Jay White was able to get the victory. A good old Blade Runner sealed the deal. But yeah, definitely Robbie Eagles still looked strong in this match. But definitely great main event for night one. Of course, Jay White, Switchblade, had to get on the mic for end of the show promo like he usually does. So I was definitely digging that. And then night two was pretty interesting. So night two, you had the Alex Coughlin challenge match series. And of course, his opponent ended up being Chris Dickinson of Violence Unlimited. And I tell you, this was a hard-hitting match. And, you know, don't sleep on Alex Coughlin. He's another one that's starting to rise up more and more. You know, also another young lion. But, of course, you know, Chris Dickinson was definitely going to win this match. Got that cross arm breaker. But, you know, it was at least a good 12, 13-minute match. So, not bad for the opening match. I was definitely digging it. And then we had a tag team match. We had the team of Ryusuke Taguchi and Rocky Romero teaming up to face the West Coast Wrecking Crew of Royce Isaacs and Jarrell Nelson. This was an interesting matchup. Definitely interesting matchup, and was kind of a shocker. But Rocky Romero with the surprise backslide pin to get what some may seem like is the upset victory over the West Coast Wrecking Crew. Yikes. But hey, don't sleep on Rocky Romero and Ryusuke Taguchi, which I think they're called the Mega Coaches. I think that's what their team name is called. Kind of an interesting name. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, that was pretty interesting. And then we had a 8-man tag match. We had TJP, Clark Connors, Lio Rush, and Juice Robinson take on Bullet Club's Chris Bay, Hikuleo, El Fantasma, and Taiji Ishimori. This was kind of a wild match, but did not last as long as I thought it was going to. But wasn't a fan of the ending. Really wasn't a fan of the ending. Hikuleo knocks out Juice Robinson with the cowbell, and of course, Juice Robinson, TJP, Clark Connors, and Lio Rush get the DQ victory. Didn't like the ending, and the match wasn't as long as I thought it was going to be, so it's kind of an match for me, but whichever. And then the main event was Carl Fredericks versus Will Osprey. And I tell you, this was a great match, especially for Carl Fredericks going up against Will Osprey. He actually did really well in this match. It was back and forth, and if anything, it was just good to see Will Osprey back in the ring. And hopefully, going forward, he can continue to stay healthy and just, do what he does best, especially as the leader of United Empire. And sure enough, returned in great form and was able to pick up the victory via the Hidden Blade. So, didn't get the Stormbreaker, but used Hidden Blade, picked up the victory over Carl Fredericks. Then you had the post-match attack. You had Clark Connors come down. You had TJP come down. And then that's when they did the big reveal of the newest member of United Empire, which turned out to be TJP. And, of course, beat down Clark Connors and more beat down on Carl Fredericks. And, yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how TJP does in his new stable, United Empire. I can dig it. I can definitely dig it. But yeah, that was NJPW's Autumn Attack. So 2 nights of fun there. And then let's also keep in mind, you got also this weekend, you have the New Japan Showdown 2021. So let me go over that card quickly. So it's going on as we speak. They don't have it up on NJPW World yet, but yeah, 2 nights this weekend in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Let's see. We got a match. Ooh, Arya Daivari, former WWE star. Arya Daivari had a match with Alex Zane. So that's pretty cool. That's first match on the card. So can't wait to see that. And of course, both of these guys were in WWE, wrestling in 205 Live, if I remember correctly. So definitely want to check that out. Clark Connors and Renarita team up against Will Osprey and new member of United Empire, TJP. So we'll get to see those two team up. First time as stablemates now. So that should be really good. Looking forward to that. We have Kevin Knight versus Hikuleo. Of course, Hikuleo, Bullet Club. Pretty sure, I don't see this as being a squash match, but it's only a 15-minute time limit, so I don't expect it to last. We got a 6-man tag team match. The DKC, Brody King, and Carl Fredericks going up against Barrett Brown, Mysterioso, and Bateman. Kind of a weird matchup. A really weird matchup. But I like Brody King, so I'm going to go for his team. And we got another got another 6-man tag. Yu Uemura, Alex Conklin, and Dave Finlay going up against J.R. Kratos and Royce Isaacs and Jarrell Nelson of the West Coast Wrecking Crew. And I believe they're also part of Team Filthy as well. I see Team Filthy winning. I definitely don't see the other team winning. Pardon me. Then we got another tag team match as Fred Rosser and Rocky Romero will team up to face Team Filthy's leader Tom Lawler and Danny Limelight. That could, I was gonna say that could go either way, but honestly, I don't see Team Filthy losing. To be honest with you, I don't see them losing. We have a singles match. Fred Yehai going up against Switchblade Jay White. This should be interesting. This should definitely be interesting. 30-minute time limit. Jay White will get the victory, but I hope it's a great match. I do hope it's a great match. Fred Yehai recently had a really excellent match against Josh Alexander. And, oh, man, that was a banger of a match. We have another singles match, Juice Robinson versus El Phantasmo. That actually could be quite a great match right then and there. So I definitely want to check that match out. That could go either way, to be honest with you. And then the main event of that first night is Chris Dickinson versus Minoru Suzuki. Man, Minoru Suzuki, I tell you, that man's been busy in his U.S. tour. Man, he's been staying busy. The Murder Grandpa, just recently saw him in PWX take on Anthony Henry, which was an excellent match. And Minoru Suzuki, man, even at his age of, I think, 52 or 53, still in good shape and still working hard. Gotta love that. But yeah, that's night one of New Japan Showdown 2021. And then night two. Night two is pretty interesting as well. So, first match is a tag team. You got Finjuice going up against Kevin Knight and Yu Uemura. I mean, Finjuice is definitely taking that one. We have Daniel, 6-man tag. Daniel Garcia, Red Death, Daniel Garcia, Chris Dickinson, and Brody King going up against Barrett Brown, Mysterioso, and Bateman. To be honest, I don't see Daniel Garcia, Chris Dickinson, and Brody King losing that match, to be honest. That's just too much power on one side. We got a singles match, Clark Connors versus TJP. These two have a history of teaming against each other and even facing off against each other. So this should be good. This should be really good. I hope they tell a great story with this because these two have history. All right. Next up, we have a tag team match. Wheeler Yuta and Fred Yehai will be teaming up against Bullet Club's Jay White, Switchblade Jay White, and Hikuleo. Ooh. I like Wheeler Yuta as well, so it's going to be tough, but definitely Jay White and Hikuleo I see taking this. We got another tag team match as Arya Daivari teams up with Leo Rush. Ooh, that's a weird combination. To take on Bullet Club's El Phantasmo and Chris Bay. That's a weird combination. Leo Rush and Arya Daivari. I don't like that combo, to be honest with you. I don't like that combo. I really don't. I'm picking Bullet Club to win. And then we have a Philadelphia street fight. Oh, man. We have the team of Eddie Kingston and John Moxley going up against the Murder Grandpa and the Murder Hawk Monster, Minoru Suzuki and Lance Archer. Suzuki Gun. So, pretty much a rematch. But Philadelphia street fight. So, this would mean no DQ, anything goes. Wow, and this isn't the main event? This ain't the main event? That should be the main event. They better make that the main event. Come on, it's the Philadelphia street fight. That has to be the main event. That better be the main event. They need to fix that so that's the main event. That better be. And then we have a 10-man tag. Wow. So it looks like the DKC, Renarita, Rocky Romero, Carl Fredericks, and Fred Rosser going up against Team Filthy, made up of Tom Lawler, JR Kratos, the West Coast Wrecking Crew, and Danny Limelight. Okay, this looks kind of one-sided. So I'm going with Team Filthy. It looks very one-sided. All right, we got Alex Conklin versus Jonathan Gresham. The Octopus is going to be wrestling. Ooh. I haven't seen Jonathan Gresham wrestle in a hot minute. That dude is excellent in the ring. Which I'm picking Jonathan Gresham. The Octopus, I'm definitely picking him to win. Oh, man. Good to see he'll be wrestling. And then we have Alex Zane versus Will Osprey. Now, even though Will Osprey will get the victory, I highly expect this to be a great match. Alex Zane, great wrestler. Great wrestler. Hey, Jack DeVivini. Please forgive me if I butcher your name. I do apologize. I've had an issue with the street fight things. Backstage fights are so phony because they can't make good noises when they punch or kick each other. They got to use weapons or it looks really phony. Well, I mean, street fights allow 4 weapons, so I guess that's what they use to make up for that. I mean, that's a fair point, but I assume that's what they use to make up for that. But I don't know. With Alex Zane, Will Osprey, I mean, like I said, I think that'll be a great match. I've seen Alex Zane wrestle live. The dude is really good. But I don't know. I was just thinking the Philadelphia street fight should be the main event. But we'll see what happens. But New Japan Showdown 2021 is looking very interesting. So I can't wait till they put that on NJPW World so I can check that out. But yeah, New Japan Pro Wrestling, once those shows are done, then the Road to Power Struggle will begin to finish off October and easing into November. And then the 6th of November is Power Struggle. We also got Battle in the Valley that got announced for November 13th. That'll be in San Jose. And then, of course, in November, we got the start of the World Tag League and Best of Super Juniors. So this is World Tag League 2021 and the 28th Best of Super Junior tournament. So they'll have both of these going on at the same time, like they did last year. So that's going to go all the way into December. So a lot to look forward to. A lot to look forward to in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Bring Bailey back with a proper outfit to showcase them peaches. My dad likes to call her lowrider, if you know what I mean. That's funny, peaches. It's funny you mentioned that, Jack, because I know I was talking with some friends and they were thinking about what would you think if maybe perhaps, I don't know if she'll be back in time, but what would you think about Bailey being entrant number 30 of the Royal Rumble and her winning the Royal Rumble? How would you feel about that? You think that could happen? Okay. So that is all for New Japan Pro Wrestling for now. Okay, let's go into AEW. Now, of course, we had Rampage yesterday, and then Dynamite was just an hour or two ago. So start off with Rampage, and let me tell you, Rampage started off with an excellent buy-in YouTube for the first hour. And I tell you what, Thank you, Tony Khan. That's all I got to say is thank you, Tony Khan, because we had some, oh man, we had some killer matches for the buy-in for AEW Rampage. Of course, it started off with Ty Conti going up against Santana Garrett. Now, I definitely like both of these ladies. I really, really hope that Santana Garrett can start racking up some victories, because you gotta remember Santana Garrett is a big name in the indies, great wrestler, the Wonder Woman of professional wrestling. And she's also done a lot of work in Japan. She used to be part of Stardom. So I don't know. I hope maybe she'll get signed to AEW. I think she'd be great for the women's division, but I hope they're going to showcase her. Hopefully she'll get some wins. But unfortunately, she was not able to defeat Ty Conti. But it was a nice back and forth match. But Ty Conti was able to hit the DDT and get the victory. But man, I really wanted Santana Garrett to win. No, nothing against Ty Conti. Jack says, Bailey looks better than ever with that haircut. Is she a heel right now? She needs proper femme fatale gear for that. Yeah, she's still a heel. Definitely still tweets like a heel. And, she's still recovering from her torn ACL. But like I said, I definitely like Bailey. Does great heel work. But like I said, I would love to see her return. If she can return in time for Royal Rumble, that would rock. But yeah, still a heel, still going strong as a heel. Next up, you had Lee Moriarty going up against Moriarty. I think I said that right. Lee Moriarty going up against the infamous Bobby Fish. And I tell you, once again, I got to say this. Congratulations to Lee Moriarty on getting signed to AEW. That dude has been working hard, and he greatly deserved that contract. So thank you, Tony Khan. Good call on signing him. And even a great call on signing Bobby Fish. Definitely was loving that. After his first match against Sammy Guevara for the TNT title, they signed Bobby Fish. I was like, yes. But these two went back and forth, put on a technical and striking clinic, and definitely loved what they're doing with Lee. Definitely showed why it was a great move signing him. But Bobby Fish was able to get the victory. Of course, gave pretty much, guess you could say, a buzzsaw kick to Lee, and was able to get the 1, 2, 3. So Bobby Fish in AEW rocking to the Red Dragon theme, Dance Away. So that never gets old. And then afterwards, pretty much the main event of this buy-in. And I still can't believe we got this match on YouTube for free. We had the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, against the murder grandpa, Minoru Suzuki, as the main event of the buy-in of Rampage. Rampage hadn't even started. This was the buy-in. And they put on a match of the year candidate match. I mean, it was crazy. And just these two trading strikes, tearing each other apart, and then just coming back for more, asking for more. Both had red scars on their chests, welts, all of the above. But I mean, and you got to remember, these two have faced each other before, which I believe was in Japan. But these two have faced each other before, so they're not strangers. But man, Bryan Danielson, Minoru Suzuki, who I recently got to see live at PWX when he fought Anthony Henry. Wow. Like, back and forth, trading submissions, trading strikes, and it took one running high knee just out of nowhere to put away Minoru Suzuki, to put away the king. And Bryan Danielson, the American Dragon, topples Minoru Suzuki. But wow, what a match to usher into Rampage. I mean, just yikes. And then, start of Rampage, we get a commercial-free match. CM Punk going up against Matt Sydal. See, now that female power is all the rage, do you think Wendy Richter would get a big pop? Male old timers like Hogan do. I know Wendy's not a legend, but she was in the early WWF days. Would she get a big pop now? I don't know. Actually. It's a good chance. I would think it's a good chance. Speaking of which, she's going to be at WrestleCade this upcoming Thanksgiving weekend in November. She's going to be a special guest at WrestleCade in Winston-Salem. So, be interesting to see who all shows up for that, for her. But yeah, she'll be there. So, it's funny that you mentioned that because she's going to be at WrestleCade. But I think it's possible. I definitely think it's possible. But, oh man, I tell you, this match, CM Punk, Matt Sydal, which I'm trying to think, didn't they wrestle each other in WWE, like back in ECW? I want to say they did, but I could be wrong. But these two have great chemistry in the ring together. And I tell you, like, these two went back and forth. I mean, you saw the strikes and high flying from Matt Sydal, strikes and submissions from CM Punk. Good, well-paced match, but tried to go for the shooting star press, but Punk wasn't falling for it and was able to put him away with a GTS to get the victory. But a great match. Definitely Matt Sydal looked strong in this match. I mean, he even hit him with the lightning spiral, but kicked out, so wasn't able to put him away. But still, great match. Great opening match. And like I said, it was commercial free. Okay. And then, let's see, what do we have next? Next up, we had Ruby Soho going up against the Bunny. Now, this was kind of an interesting matchup. These two ladies. I just feel like, with the Ruby Soho's experience, and that's not to say the Bunny, or also known as Ali, isn't, but I kind of feel like it was a one-sided matchup, if I can be honest. But when it was all said and done, Ruby Soho got the pin, got the victory, and then she gets attacked by Penelope Ford, and they just straight up double team Ruby Soho. So, got a storyline there. Ruby Soho, Penelope Ford, the Bunny. Keep an eye out for that. Should be interesting. Should be an interesting storyline. And then we had the main event of Rampage. What you got? Do you think Stephanie and Triple H have plans to bring more female wrestlers to the roster once Vince retires for good? I'm not sure the female to male ratio right now. Maybe they'll ramp it up. Well, first off, when Vince retires for good, there's no telling when that's going to happen. No telling when that's going to happen. Shoot. Vince might be 90 years old for that happens. Shoot. But ramping up female wrestlers to the roster, I mean, honestly, do they really need to? I mean, they have plenty on the roster currently. They just don't know how to use their talent. They just don't know how to use all of their talent. I mean, you have to remember, you got ladies that are there that are kind of in obscurity. I mean, Toni Storm barely gets matches on SmackDown. I mean, nowadays, Saray barely gets any matches, and she was on a win streak. I mean, I like that NXT 2.0 is starting to showcase some of the younger talent there. So I don't think the issue is there. But, I mean, the main roster, I mean, I know Asuka's still recovering from injury, but I mean, there's ladies there. It's just not everybody's being used, and some of them just aren't being used properly. So I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I'm all for talent. I mean, for me, I'm all about the talent, but it sucks when you have so much talent that you have a handful that's not showcased and is just in catering. Right. They've plenty, but they're using a few in bathroom break kind of deals. True. They had two fights that total 5 minutes a few days back, right? Well, I mean, when you look at the Queen's Crown tournament that's been going on, those matches, I think total have been like 5 or 6 minutes or less. The King of the Ring tournament matches have been much longer than those Queen's Crown tournaments, which I feel is pretty much Shayna Baszler's tournament. It's her tournament. It's totally her tournament. With the way things look, I feel like there's no way that Shayna's not walking away queen of the ring. But I mean, Selena Vega's in the freaking finals, for crying out loud. So, but yeah, we'll see what happens. But I am concerned about some of the call-ups. Like, and I'm still wondering, where the heck is Dakota Kai? Dakota Kai must be injured or something, because still haven't seen Dakota Kai. Still waiting on when Xia Li is going to show her face. She got drafted to SmackDown, and then this storyline with Naomi, and like I said, Toni Storm not really showcased much. Tegan and Shotzi not showcased hardly any, and they've been undefeated as a tag team since coming to the main roster, yet they didn't get a freaking tag title shot. So just the booking has just been so yeah. Main event. Trios match. So we had the Inner Circles, Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, and Jake Hager going up against the Men of the Year, which is Ethan Page, Scorpio Sky, and Junior Dos Santos. But you know something? Junior Dos Santos, he did all right. He did all right in this match. I'm not going to hate on the guy. I can't hate on the guy. I think he did all right. He had some good spots. Had a nice table spot at the end. I think he did all right. My attention was mainly on JDS throughout the match. I think he did all right. I couldn't really complain, to be honest with you. I mean, everybody else was going to do their thing, but I think he did all right. And it's interesting, but of course, Jorge Masvidal had to get involved, deliver that running knee. But of course, the numbers game. I mean, they had Jorge Masvidal, they had Paige Van Zant, they had of course, Dan Lambert. So I mean, I'm not surprised at the outcome. They're still continuing to build up the storyline between Dan Lambert and the Men of the Year going up against the Inner Circle. And of course, Santana and Ortiz came out for the save, after the post-match beatdown. So they're really, really going hard with the storyline. So I'm not too surprised with that. I know interpromotional fights haven't been a thing for years, but what fights would you make for an AEW WWE pay-per-view? Good question. Very good question. Uh, I would love to see. Hmm. I would love to see Charlotte Flair versus Britt Baker. I would love to see. Of course, I'm sure a lot of people would love to see Kenny Omega versus Roman Reigns and finally nip that in the bud. I would love to see. Heck, I would love to see Asuka versus Hikaru Shida. I would love to see that. Or even Asuka versus Riho. I would love to see that. That'd be excellent. Maybe Nyla Rose versus Nia Jax. um, I would love to see Matt Sydal versus Cedric Alexander. I would love to see that. Shelton Benjamin versus Darby Allin. I'd love to see that. Let's see. Let's talk about some tag teams. Lucha Bros versus Street Profits. I think that's a matchup that's never happened before. That'd be cool. Let's see. TH2 versus the Usos. Think that would be cool. I would love to see that. I would love to see. See what else? Maybe Sheamus versus the Machine Brian Cage. I would love to see that. Finn Balor versus Absolute Ricky Starks. That'd be killer. I would love to see Sasha Banks versus Thunder Rosa. I think that'd be cool. I would love to see. I know there's more. I know there's definitely more. I would love to see. Hmm, maybe Santana and Ortiz, Proud and Powerful versus the Viking Raiders. I'd love to see that. I would definitely love to see that. Uh, how about mm, Apollo Cruz versus Luchasaurus? I would love to see that. How about Mr. McMahon versus Tony Khan? That would suck. Oh yeah, that would definitely suck. Big time. That would definitely suck. But but yeah, so let's see. That was Rampage. Now let's get into Dynamite. So Dynamite had an interesting start. So Dynamite started off with Dante Martin versus Malachi Black. Now, I can definitely appreciate the fact that they gave these two a decent amount of time, especially with the recent Malachi Black matches. I felt like this got a decent amount of time. And it was good to see Dante Martin get his high flying in. I knew this was going to be showcased, and I like the clash of styles between these two. And I would love to see this match again, maybe under a longer time limit. I would love to see this match again, personally. But, of course, Malachi Black was able to get the victory, hit the Black Mass. But, of course, both were kind of favoring knee injuries in a way. I know Dante Martin with his high flying looked like he landed wrong. I don't know if it was kayfabe or what, but it seemed like both of them were giving off the idea of knee leg injuries. But got the Black Mass, got the pin. Malachi Black still undefeated. But you know something? You know what was really cool? After the match, as Malachi Black was heading up the ramp, he turned around and looked back and gave a nod to Dante Martin. Like, show of respect. I take that as a show of respect. I was like, wow. Like, that was actually pretty cool. I think that was off script, but I think that was pretty cool that he gave him a nod of sportsmanship. So definitely thought that was cool. That was really cool. And then we had Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus backstage giving their update on Christian Cage. And then they got attacked by the elite, the elite, the elite, the elite. Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, ambushed them. Of course, Adam Cole as well. They just team up and just destroy Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy. They powerbomb Luchasaurus through a table in the back. So they got the last laugh with that. And then, of course, you had a segment. Inner Circle came down, fully reunited. Everybody got on the mic. Then eventually Dan Lambert and his goons came out. And pretty much Jericho issued a challenge for a 10-man tag team. 10-man tag team match. Which, he offered Dan Lambert, choose whoever you want to participate. But, you know what? It was mentioned that Sammy Guevara would be the only one to have the power, I guess, to make that match happen. Which, he gave the confirmation that he'll be there next week, to beat the crap out of every last one of them. So it's like it's going to happen. So my guess is, I'm guessing it's going to be something along the lines of maybe Men of the Year, Jorge Masvidal, Junior Dos Santos, and maybe, I don't know, maybe Andre Arlovsky. I don't know. I don't know who they may use. Because, Inner Circle is going to be, I'm sure it's going to be Jericho, Sammy Guevara, Proud and Powerful, and Jake Hager. So that's 5 right there. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what Dan Lambert's team is going to look like next week. It's going to be interesting. And then next up, we had the AAA tag team titles on the line as the Lucha Bros defended against a masked tag team from Andrade El Idolo. Oh, man, which turned out to be FTR. And sure enough, FTR not only took advantage of distractions, especially with Tully Blanchard coming down to the ring, but FTR are now the AAA World Tag Team Champions as they have dethroned the Lucha Bros, who had been undefeated this whole entire year until now as a tag team. Now, of course, they are still the AEW World Tag Team Champions, but it'll be interesting. Are we going to see FTR, do a tour in Mexico and put those titles on the line? Could we perhaps see them in Mexico? I think that'd be cool. I'm a big fan of FTR. Of course, they're from North Carolina, just like me. So, of course, I'm gonna support my North Carolinian wrestlers. But I'm happy for FTR. Definitely happy for FTR. So they have been in this position to have an opportunity to be AAA World Tag Team Champs and have the opportunity to compete in Mexico, I would think. So, and we go backstage. We got Lio Rush and Dante Martin, and Lio Rush kind of looked down on Dante Martin for a moment there, but he has announced that he will be Dante Martin's new tag team partner. I'm guessing Darius, his brother, is still out injured. Darius, both of them together make up Top Flight. But I don't know. I'm kind of iffy about this because I was hoping this would turn into Lio Rush managing Top Flight. But if Darius is still hurt, then I mean, what can you really do? You know what I mean? So he's still hurt. So, and then of course you had a segment with FTR, Andrade El Idolo, and MJF, which MJF, I guess, got an envelope full of money from Andrade. And of course, he reiterated, hey, it's a one-time only deal. But I guess paid MJF some of money to get them a deal to be the masked wrestlers to take on the Lucha Bros. And sure enough, it paid off. They won the tag titles. So it's crazy. It's crazy. But yeah. But I can dig it. FTR, AAA tag team champs. I can dig it. And then I was so annoyed by this, but we pretty much had a squash match. Jon Moxley versus Wheeler Yuta. The word is, from what I've been told, I don't know if this is accurate, but I think word is that Wheeler Yuta might have suffered a injured wrist. I could be wrong, but that's what I've been told. But I hope everything is okay with Wheeler Yuta and that's not the case. But I've heard word that he may have suffered a wrist injury. So I hope that's not the case because I like Wheeler Yuta. He's somebody that I've seen live a couple of times. He kind of reminds me of a young TJP. So I hope the best for Wheeler Yuta. I hope he'll be all right. But I was so pissed that he got squashed by Jon Moxley. Like, it was just really, really annoying. Moving on, we had Serena Deeb backstage, who was interviewed and pretty much was talking about how women's division have been dragging while she's been gone, but now that she's back, ready to put some spice in the women's division. Of course, last week she prevented Shida from getting her 50th win. She beat Shida, made her tap out to the Serenity Lock. And then out of nowhere, backstage, Shida attacks Serena Deeb, and they brawl backstage. So I had a feeling that was going to turn into a storyline. And sure enough, these two ladies are brawling and beating the crap out of each other. And yep, it's only going to get better. It's only going to get better. And then we had a 6-man tag. We had the Dark Order made up of Alex Reynolds, Evil Uno, and John Silver taking on the Super Clique of Adam Cole and the Young Bucks. Of course, very action-packed match, of course, which was expected. There was even a moment where Adam Cole thought he had Evil Uno in the camel clutch and thought he was going to get the double kiss from the Young Bucks, and it turned out to be John Silver and Alex Reynolds. And yeah, that was a pretty funny segment. But I mean, man, these teams went back and forth, but I knew right then and there they weren't going to beat the Super Clique. They weren't going to beat them. But yeah, it took a combination of super kicks, Panama Sunrise, and a BTE trigger to put away the Dark Order. So yeah, that was crazy. That was really, really crazy, but a match I definitely enjoyed. And of course, you had the post-match attack, but Jungle Boy comes down, was able to get a hold of Brandon Cutler. Everybody else left him to pretty much be destroyed and ensnared in the snare trap and constantly tapping out with the freeze cool spray going and such. But poor Brandon Cutler. When the heck is he going to wrestle again? That's another thing I wonder. When is he going to wrestle again? He hasn't really been wrestling. He's just been, you know, helping manage the elite and such, and as an extra, as a moment of distraction. But I do wonder when he's going to finally get back in the ring and actually wrestle. And then they had a really interesting video package with Cody Rhodes back training with the rest of the Nightmare family, and just him getting looked down on for being arrogant and such. And this leads to the announcement that we're going to get Malachi Black, Cody Rhodes 3 for the third time. And honestly, I feel like an attitude change or a lot of this buildup, I think it's going to lead to Cody Rhodes giving Malachi Black his first loss in AEW. I think third time will be the charm, and that's what it'll end up being. That's what it will end up being. Or at least that's my prediction. You had MJF come out and pretty much, he talked up a storm on the mic and was supposed to have a match with Darby Allin, but of course Darby Allin's not there because he helped in ambushing them last week. So called down Wardlow, called down the ref to make a 10 count, to ring the bell and make a 10 count, and that MJF would win by count out. But as soon as it got to 9, the lights went out, Sting comes out, and pretty much he attacks. He has the baseball bat. He attacks Wardlow. And, of course, MJF runs away. Not surprised. I was talking about this with my friends, and, some of them were telling me, I think it's only going to be a matter of time before Wardlow turns on MJF and becomes face. Remains to be seen, but it wouldn't surprise me if it happened. Would not surprise me at all. And then we had a situation again backstage with some more ladies that ended up leading to a brawl. This time it was Anna Jay and Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and they brawled after Britt Baker was calling Anna Jay a loser and such. And this actually ends up leading to AEW Women's Championship title match announced, which I believe will be at next week's Rampage, if I remember correctly. So Anna Jay's going to get a title shot. I can dig it. And then we had Kiera Hogan versus Penelope Ford, which, this was a pretty decent back and forth match between these two ladies. But unfortunately, Penelope Ford did get the victory with the Muda lock. And of course, Ruby Soho, after the match, rushes down and was ready to get some of the Bunny and Penelope Ford, but pretty much scares them off. Of course, they did the post-match attack on Kiera Hogan, but Ruby Soho came down, scared the ladies away, and yeah. So Ruby Soho standing tall. Of course, she recently defeated the Bunny. We had a video package with Miro, of course, reflecting on his loss, being dethroned by Sammy Guevara, losing the TNT title. And he also mentions his wife, CJ Perry, a.k.a. Lana. I think it's only a matter of time before we see CJ Perry in AEW by his side, by Miro's side. It's bound to happen. I have no doubt that it's bound to happen. It's only a matter of time. And then we had Hangman Adam Page come down and pretty much get on the mic, give some big epic promo leading up to Full Gear, because he did win the Casino ladder match to become number one contender for the AEW World Championship, and he gets his title shot at Full Gear, the last pay-per-view of the year for AEW. But yeah, gave a great promo, and once again, congratulations to Hangman Adam Page, who him and his wife, they had a baby boy. So congratulations to them both. And then the main event ended up being the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, going up against the infamous Bobby Fish. So Bobby Fish hadn't been that long since he's been in an AEW ring, and he is in the main event. Just like that. I love it. I love it. And these two went back and forth. That was an impressive turnbuckle avalanche falcon arrow from Bobby Fish. And I tell you, these two were trading strikes, trading heel hooks and knee bars. Like it was crazy. It was crazy. But the submission game of Bryan Danielson was just a little too much, and he was able to submit Bobby Fish in a heel hook. He was able to get the victory, and that was your main event. But I was just really happy to see Bobby Fish in the main event, and just he's been busy. He's been really getting booked quite a bit since his debut in AEW. So love it. And it has been announced the World Championship Eliminator Tournament to crown a new number one contender for the AEW World Championship. And the matchups are as follows. So we have Dark Order's 10, Preston Vance versus Jon Moxley, Orange Cassidy versus Powerhouse Will Hobbs, Dustin Rhodes versus Bryan Danielson, and Lance Archer versus Eddie Kingston. To be honest, something tells me the finals is probably going to be Bryan Danielson versus Jon Moxley. That's what I'm thinking it's going to be. Or who knows, it might be Orange Cassidy, but something tells me it's going to come down to Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson. But we'll see. It just seems too obvious. It just seems way too obvious. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But that is AEW. Now let us shift gears. We're gonna cover the current shows, and then I'll do the preview for Crown Jewel, since Crown Jewel is this coming Thursday. Okay, so looking at Raw, which started off the more of the King of the Ring and Queen's Crown tournaments on Raw. So you had Xavier Woods defeat Ricochet, which was a good match. It was definitely a good match. They showed good sportsmanship, sign of respect. But I really wanted Ricochet to win this. I really did. But Xavier Woods got the victory. And then you had the Hurt Businesses, Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander going up against Mansoor and Mustafa Ali. And once again, Mansoor and Mustafa Ali on the losing end. And then Mustafa Ali has a meltdown, which ended up eventually leading into a backstage segment where Mansoor was about to be interviewed. Mustafa Ali started just really looking down on him and just really ripping him a new one. And Mansoor still thinking, oh, we're just going to have a conversation. We're going to talk about it. This is all going to be cool. And then it ended up Ali just beating down Mansoor and pretty much taking him out. Well, that tag team is finished. Or here, one would hope. But yeah, I wasn't really a big fan of that tag team anyway. I really feel like Mustafa Ali needs to just focus on being a single star. And then, of course, we had Shayna Baszler versus Dana Brooke and the Queen's Crown tournament, which, I mean, Shayna pretty much won that match easily. She won that match easily. Let's just keep it real. And like I said, I still believe Shayna's going to win the tournament. Like, it's pretty much hers. The only one that can lose it for herself is herself. So we had Omos versus Riddle. I mean, I don't know. I mean, we all knew what was going to happen. There's no way Riddle was going to beat Omos. But hey, Randy Orton got his RKO of AJ Styles anyway, so somebody left with a happy face, and that was Randy Orton. So I guess that's cool. Then Bobby Lashley came out, did a promo on Goldberg, as it leads up to their match at Crown Jewel, saying that pretty much Goldberg doesn't have a chance, doesn't stand a chance in beating him. So he's gotten a chance to do a promo. Goldberg's gotten a chance to do a promo. So he's looking forward to ending his career. We'll see what happens. And then you had Austin Theory versus Jeff Hardy, which, once again, not surprised at the outcome. Austin Theory was able to roll up Jeff Hardy after missing a swanton bomb, rolled him up, had a handful of tights, got the victory. So Austin Theory, first match back on the main roster, and he gets a victory over Jeff Hardy, which, of course, after Crown Jewel, Jeff Hardy will be on SmackDown. So, yeah. Then we had Jinder Mahal versus Kofi Kingston, another King of the Ring tournament match, which I know a lot of people were thinking, oh man, are we going to get Kofi versus Xavier Woods in the semifinals? And it's like, I don't know. I had a feeling Jinder Mahal could possibly advance, because we have to remember Jinder Mahal is a former WWE champion. So, yeah. But Veer took out Xavier Woods, which kind of led to a distraction in a way of some sort. But Jinder Mahal defeated Kofi, and we now know that semifinal match will be Xavier Woods versus Jinder Mahal. And then we had, and this was really, really stupid. So we were supposed to have a tag team match. Charlotte teaming up with Becky Lynch, the two champs teaming up, going up against Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. And it got so bad that they had to restart the match. And yet still ended up being a tag team match. Like, this was so stupid. Why would you put all four of these ladies in tag matches against each other? They hate each other. Like, it makes no sense. It really makes no sense. Makes no sense at all. Just dumb. And not only that, it just flat out ended in a no contest. Like, so stupid. So stupid. And we had another Queen's Crown tournament match as Doudrop went up against Natalya. And, of course, she beat Natalya. Another match. Wasn't long at all. Was able to counter Natalya's sharpshooter attempt. Rolled her up. 1, 2, 3. Doudrop advances and will face Shayna Baszler in the semifinals. These Queen's Crown tournament matches have been so short, like 2 minutes or less, and it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. At least the King of the Ring tournament matches have at least been decent. And then the main event was the Usos teaming up to take on the team of Drew McIntyre and Big E. Yeah. Like, of course we knew that tempers were eventually going to get the best of Big E and Drew McIntyre to the point where they ended up brawling with each other, and it led to a count out, and the Usos win. Just Raw was trash. Raw was trash. It was flat out trash. There's really nothing to see there. Raw was trash. NXT 2.0 was very, very interesting and kind of shocking as well. So we started off with Tommaso Ciampa versus Joe Gacy. Now, if Joe Gacy got the victory, then he would be added to the match between Tommaso Ciampa and Braun Breaker for the NXT Championship. And while Joe Gacy gave it a great effort, it just was not enough to defeat Tommaso Ciampa, as Ciampa was able to hit the fairy tale ending on Joe Gacy for the victory. And what was really, really weird was after the match, Parker Bordeaux, or I guess he's called Harlan in NXT, apparently rushed in and had some sort of weird interaction with Joe Gacy. I have a feeling that those two are going to be a pairing of some sort. And it was even, I was talking to one of my friends about this. He was even thinking Joe Gacy might be the Bray Wyatt replacement. They may do something like that with Joe Gacy, which that would be really weird. But who knows? They might end up doing that. They might end up doing that. So we'll see. We had Zion Quinn in action against Malik Blade and pretty much beat him convincingly with that crossbody attack. I thought it was pretty cool. He did a Samoan, I think it's a haka, when he was in the ring before his match. So I thought that was pretty cool. But Zion Quinn, so far has been undefeated since he's made his debut. So hey, looks like he's gonna be a one of the big up and rising stars in NXT 2.0. It's looking dominant. It's looking dominant. And then Ivy Nile made her debut against Valentina Feroz and made her pretty much submit to a little torture rack there. She was bending the crap out of her. It took a while, but she pretty much made her tap out to a torture rack. But Ivy Nile made her debut and got a victory on the board. So the female representative of Diamond Mine. We had Julius Creed, one half of the Creed brothers, taking on Ikemen Jiro. And while Ikemen Jiro put up a good fight, it wasn't quite enough. Wasn't quite enough, and Julius Creed was able to defeat Ikemen Jiro, and they started beating them down. Like some of the others of Diamond Mine started beating them down. Kushida tried to come to the rescue, but the numbers game was too much for him. But it was good to see him help out his fellow brethren. We had a match, a tag team match. Kyle O'Reilly and Von Wagner versus Pete Dunne, or as Kyle O'Reilly likes to say, Peter Dune, and Ridge Holland, which, I mean, if anything, I felt like this was more of a showcase for Von Wagner. And I mean, he ended up getting the victory for the team. But this partnership, him and Kyle O'Reilly, is still kind of weird. Don't know where it's gonna lead to, but it's still it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. That's all I can really say with that. I just don't like Kyle O'Reilly in this situation. He needs to really be flourishing as a single star, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. Then you had a match with Duke Hudson and Grayson Waller. Like I said, I've been very impressed with Grayson Waller after his cruiserweight title match opportunity against Roderick Strong. But another roll-up scenario where Duke Hudson was able to get a roll-up with a handful of tights to get the victory over Grayson Waller. So kind of a bummer that it ended that way. I wanted Grayson Waller to win, but yeah. And then you had more Andre Chase with this Christopher Nowinski-like gimmick, although a little bit more vulgar. But just, yeah, it's weird. It's really weird gimmick. But he's still Harlem Bravado to me. But what else? And then we had a tag team match. Indy Hartwell and Persia Parati going up against Saray and Amari Miller. So what the heck is up with just Saray in a tag team match? Like, what the heck? Saray had momentum, and ever since her loss to Dakota Kai, it's like, where's Saray been? She had a match on 205 Live. It's like, what the heck are y'all doing with Saray? I don't get that. I really don't get that. But it's like, it's crazy. It's crazy. But, of course, Indy Hartwell and Persia Parati got the victory. They were able to beat Saray and Amari Miller. And then, of course, they got confronted by the tag team champs, Io Shirai, Zoe Stark. And it looks like it's going to be, it was announced that it's going to come to a triple threat match at Halloween Havoc, I believe, for the NXT Women's Tag Team titles. It'll be Zoe Stark and Io Shirai defending them against Indy Hartwell, Persia Parati, and Toxic Attractions, JC Jane, and Gigi Dolan. So that should be really good. Should be really, really good. And then the main event was the NXT North American Championship as Swerve finally defended the title against Legado del Fantasma. Now, earlier in the show, they took out the other members of Top Dollar, pretty much captured them and took them out. So Swerve was on his own. The match was back and forth. The match was very great between these two, Santos Escobar and Swerve, Isaiah Swerve Scott. And you know what? I was kind of surprised at the outcome with this. So even though Santos Escobar had, Raul Mendoza, Joaquin Wilde in his, at his disposal, Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes came down and actually attacked Mendoza and Wilde and pretty much took them out of the picture. And then it eventually led to Swerve hitting the JML driver and retaining the title. Gets the 1, 2, 3 and retains the NXT North American title. Now, Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams come inside, look to celebrate with Swerve. And then Carmelo Hayes pulled the swerve on Swerve. He attacks him, and then he cashes in his contract that he won in the Breakouts tournament, and he defeats Swerve and takes the NXT North American title. I definitely dig the call. It was very surprising, but you know what? I like the call. And it makes sense because Swerve finally successfully defended the title, so he at least had that under his belt by defeating Santos Escobar. But this having Carmelo Hayes cash in and winning, this was really the best way they could have Swerve drop the NXT North American title so that him and Hit Row can pretty much coast into SmackDown, which they were drafted to. So it makes sense. Didn't expect that to happen, but I like the swerve in this. I like the outcome. Carmelo Hayes is now your NXT North American champion, and I like to see how well he does on a run with that. But definitely a good call. Okay, let's switch gears to NXT UK. So, this was actually a very special NXT UK as the fans returned for this. And, you know, it was really good to see the fans back in action. And we got to see a couple of good matches. We got to see Blair Davenport versus Stevie Turner. So that match finally happened. And it was great. It was great back and forth. And, you know, normally if this was on an even playing field, this could have gone either way. But they had to keep Blair Davenport strong. She was able to get the Kamigoye and the victory over Stevie Turner. Got on the mic and pretty much did a little quick post-match promo. And like I said, don't be surprised if eventually she gets a crack at Meiko Satomura. But Jinne is the next challenger, which in 3 weeks she'll get her title shot against Meiko. But I still don't think she dethrones Meiko. As much as I like Jinne, I do like her. She's a great heel. I still don't see her being the one to dethrone Meiko Satomura. I don't. But we'll see what happens. We also had what did we have? Flash Morgan Webster versus Shaw Samuels, which honestly I really wanted Flash Morgan Webster to win, but Shaw Samuels got the victory. Ugh. I don't know. Subculture really just, you know, Flash Morgan Webster, Mark Andrews, Danny Luna. It doesn't seem like this staple has really gotten many victories under their belts. I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest. Not saying that I hate the pairing, but they just haven't had any good luck lately. Let's see. Oh, we had A-Kid finally get his shot at the NXT United Kingdom Championship as Ilya Dragunov makes his first defense. And I must say, like, this was an intense, hard-hitting match. This really could have gone either way. A-Kid definitely showed why he was in the main event for this. Because you got to remember, A-Kid's a former Heritage Cup champion. So definitely has done well for himself. But this was back and forth, hard hitting. But I mean, let's be honest. There was no way Ilya Dragunov was going to lose that title. So took a Torpedo Moscow and was able to put away A-Kid. But he wasn't going to lose. But a great showing by both competitors. Definitely a great showing. So I can definitely dig that. And I believe they're also planning for another match between Joe Coffey and Jordan Devlin. So I think that's going to be on the horizon as well. So keep that in mind. And it looks like we're also going to get, I think it's Aisha Page or something like that versus Zaya Brookside. So I think that's another match we have to look forward to for next week. But that's pretty much NXT UK. Pretty good show. Pretty dang on good show. And then SmackDown. So SmackDown actually went for 2.5 hours long. So I thought that was pretty interesting. But you had a couple of things happen here. You had, of course, you had Finn Balor versus Sami Zayn, and this was to determine who would go on to the finals of the King of the Ring tournament. And while it was back and forth in a great match between these two, Finn Balor sealed the deal with a coup de grace, and Finn Balor makes it to the finals of the King of the Ring tournament, which the finals match will be taking place at Crown Jewel. So keep that in mind. But yeah, Finn Balor is in the finals. So good stuff there. We had some great promos from both Seth Rollins and Edge, their separate promos, leading up to Crown Jewel, because like I said, they have a Hell in a Cell match against each other. So both did excellent promos on each other. So definitely enjoyed that. Let's see, you had the other semifinal match with the ladies for the Queen's Crown, as it came down to Zelina Vega and Carmella. So they seem to be, having a friendly face-off at the moment until things got heated where, some blows were exchanged, some hits to the face, and Carmella tried to put on her diamond mask or whatever, but Liv Morgan pretty much interfered, and it was enough of a distraction for Zelina Vega to pretty much take over. And Zelina Vega defeated Carmella, and Zelina Vega will be in the finals for the Queen's Crown tournament. So the only thing we're waiting on is the matches on Raw with Xavier Woods, Jinder Mahal, and then Shayna Baszler Doudrop. But I still think Shayna's going to win it. And King of the Ring, I don't know. It's probably going to end up being probably Finn Balor. But then again, it could be Jinder Mahal as well. I mean, I don't know, because of them going to Saudi Arabia. I don't know. I just thought about that. But we'll see. We'll definitely see. The Street Profits got a SmackDown tag title shot against the Usos, and it was a street fight. Both of these tag teams have such excellent chemistry. I mean, these two, it's a match that never gets old. Never gets old. But the Usos were able to retain the tag titles, but I tell you, these two definitely one of the best matches of the night, to be honest with you. Definitely one of the best matches. So Naomi came to the ring, scheduled to have a match against Sonya Deville. We all thought it was going to be Sonya Deville coming back. And she comes out, she's not even dressed, which I figured was going to happen. And she gets on the mic and says, "Oh, Naomi, you walked out before I could finish my announcement. So it's going to be you against me and this woman." Woman turns out to be Shayna Baszler. How ironic is that? Two MMA specialists and Sonya Deville and Shayna Baszler on the same team getting ready to beat down Naomi. Now, Naomi did fight back. She definitely fought back, but I mean, the numbers game was just too much. And sure enough, Sonya Deville pins Naomi, and they just continue to humiliate Naomi. Like, this whole thing with Sonya Deville as part of an authority figure is just, come on, it's been long enough. It's time to get her back in the ring. Get her back in the ring. It's been long enough. But yeah, her and Shayna, that's so ironic. It's crazy. It's definitely crazy, but stupid at the same time. And then, I mean, we even had Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs pretty much interrupt Happy Talk with Happy Corbin and Madcap Moss, and just, I don't know, it was weird. Just came down to the ring, played music, and there was even a segment where Rick Boogs played the Street Profits theme as they were doing their entrance. I thought was pretty interesting. But let's see. You had a great match between Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks. A really great match, back and forth. These ladies have a lot of history, dating all the way back to NXT, so very familiar with each other. And Bianca Belair was in attendance. She was at the announce table, and sure enough, she was a key factor into the outcome of this match as she whips Becky Lynch with her hair. Sasha Banks took over, hit a backstabber. I think she hit like 3 or 4 backstabbers that whole match, and was able to pin Becky Lynch. Now, of course, this is, more build up for their triple threat match at Crown Jewel. But yeah, it's a big deal. It's definitely a big deal. But yeah, Becky Lynch got pinned by Sasha Banks. And then they had the last segment. The last segment, they had the contract signing for Crown Jewel between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. Now, the really funny thing about this was they had the contract signing. Paul Heyman, reviewed everything. Roman Reigns was the first to sign the contract. Then Brock Lesnar just took the contract and just signed it right then and there, just like that. Took him like 2 seconds. And of course, Roman Reigns was like, you must be really, really dumb. You ain't even look at that contract. You ain't even read it or nothing like that. You just signed it just like it was nothing. And of course, Brock Lesnar's like, I actually read the whole thing this morning. It was, relayed to me by my advocate, Paul Heyman. And that pretty much set off Roman Reigns. And then, of course, that's literally all Brock had to do. And then he just up and left that little nugget there, and just up and left. It was funny. It's only a matter of time before Paul Heyman really gets exposed, it seems. But yeah, that is pretty much SmackDown. So let's look at the card for Crown Jewel. Okay, Crown Jewel will be this Thursday, October 21st. And like I said, Crown Jewel will be in Saudi Arabia. So looking at this match, or this match card. So we're gonna get Mansoor versus Mustafa Ali. So I guess they're gonna settle their differences here. But something? Something tells me Mansoor is probably gonna get the victory. Like he hasn't lost at Crown Jewel. You know what I mean? So Mansoor might end up getting the victory, but regardless if it was him or Mustafa Ali, either one could get this victory and it'd be a big win for them. So we'll see. Of course, the Raw Tag Team titles will be on the line as RK Bro defend the titles against AJ Styles and Omos. I think RK Bro retains. I just really don't see AJ and Omos getting those belts back like that. So I'm picking RKO to retain. We got Goldberg versus Bobby Lashley in a no-holds-barred match. I think this is where Goldberg will probably get the victory. I mean, Lashley got him the previous time, got the best of him, the passed me up. So something tells me Goldberg is probably going to win the rematch. and it's no holds barred. I'm thinking Goldberg will probably get this. We got the SmackDown Women's Championship on the line as Becky Lynch will defend against Bianca Belair, Sasha Banks. Now, we have to also remember, after Crown Jewel, both Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair will be on Raw. So, and Sasha Banks is still on SmackDown. So, me personally, on paper, I would say probably Sasha Banks is going to win, because I don't see Becky Lynch taking the title with her to Raw. And like I said, Bianca Belair got drafted to Raw as well. So I'm going to pick Sasha Banks because she'll still be on SmackDown. I'm going to pick Sasha Banks. And then you got the WWE Championship on the line as Big E defends against Drew McIntyre. I expect this to be an excellent match. This could potentially be match of the card. Could be match of the card. But, yeah. Part of me wants to remain neutral, but I do believe Big E is probably going to beat Drew McIntyre. I think he will beat Drew McIntyre, but I expect it to be a great match. Let's see. We got Edge versus Seth Rollins, Hell in a Cell match. So who takes this one? Potentially the final showdown. Who takes this one? It's tough. It's really, really tough. Honestly, it could go either way. I'm going to remain neutral with this one, but it could go either way. It could definitely go either way. But should be an intense final match for these two. A great way to end this rivalry, in this storyline. And then we have the Universal Championship as Roman Reigns defends against Brock Lesnar. And like I said, I think Roman Reigns is definitely going to retain. I just don't see Brock Lesnar winning being a good idea, being how he usually is when he holds the main championship. It doesn't get defended much. So I think they got to do the smart thing and need to do the smart thing and have dang it, what was I going to say? Need to do the smart thing and have Roman Reigns retain. Have Roman Reigns retain. Honestly, I'm pretty sure he's going to go into to next year as WWE champion, or Universal champion, I'm sorry. But they didn't have which I'm pretty sure they're still going to have the tournament finals. I would think they're going to have the tournament finals still on this card, but I could be wrong. But I expect the finals to be on here. But we'll see for Queen's Crown and for King of the Ring tournament. But like I said, it's probably going to come down to something like Finn Balor and Jinder Mahal. And then for the ladies, it's probably going to be Shayna versus Selena. And you already know who's winning that. But yeah. Crown Jewel doesn't look too strong. But, I mean, you know how it's going to be. Folks going to get that Saudi money. So, yeah. Anyway, that will do for this edition of Pro Wrestling Talk. This was a long one. This was a really long one. But like I said, there was a lot to cover. There was a whole lot to cover. But I want to thank Jack Devaney. Like I said, please forgive me if I butcher that. I want to thank you for chiming in the chat. And for all those that have watched and for the likes on this video. Hope y'all enjoyed this content. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss a video. And, next week's going to be interesting. We've got the finals of the G1 Climax. The Goddess of Stardom Tag League is about to start. We got Crown Jewel. And we're going to find out who the winners of the Queen's Crown tournament and King of the Ring tournaments will be. So, and of course, AEW, they're kicking off the start of the AEW World Championship Eliminator Tournament. And also the TNT Championship Tournament is going to be kicking off soon as well. I think they still got to announce the competitors for that. So a lot of pro wrestling greatness to look forward to. I'm excited. Should be awesome. Anyway, thank y'all so much for watching. I'm your host, Blitzball Champ Jason Ingram. Hope everybody has a blessed day tomorrow to kick the week off. And I will see y'all soon. Take care. Peace.